Welcome back to the channel. My name is Harold, and in today's video I'm going to be showing you guys how to make your charts go from this to this. So this is going to be another setup guide video for footprint charts on Quantower. And the reason I'm doing this video about 2 to 3 months after the first video I made is that Quantower had a huge update, and it pretty much changed all the settings that I have on Quantower. Like, I made a template on Quantower, everything was deleted, right? Even if you go into the settings for these cluster charts, these footprint charts, all the settings are different as well. Just the way that everything is laid out, the settings are different, and I was kind of confused, and it took me quite some time to figure it out, but I have a feeling that a lot of people are also confused as well. So I'm making this video so that I can help you guys out and you guys can get back to your normal trading session without a problem. Right, so let's just get into the video. So getting right into it, if you open up the chart and you go to the top left corner, there's gonna be a button that says CHT. If you press that, you're gonna come up with a new chart that looks something like this. Now the ticker symbol is not going to be the same. Right now I have ES minis on as my ticker symbol. So if you want to change that, just go into the top left corner here where you can enter the symbol, type in ESU6, and that will be the contract set for September. That is the contract that I'm using to trade until around September. All right. So the first thing that we're going to do is get rid of these grids, and we're going to get rid of this symbol in the middle here because we want something pretty blank in the background, especially because we already have a bunch of numbers, a bunch of lines coming through with these footprint charts, so we don't want too much chaos. So you're going to come into the settings here, you're going to right click the chart, press settings, and the first thing we're going to do is change the view settings. So come into view, if you scroll down, you're going to see a grid section. You want to uncheck price, uncheck time, and we're going to get rid of the grid here. And the next thing we're going to do is scroll down more, and if you go into the additional section here, you're going to uncheck the show symbol description, and with that, the symbol description will disappear. And the last thing that we need to do here is check the show volume analysis toolbar. If you check the toolbar, you're going to see that something has appeared here in the bottom left corner. Now on my screen, it's slightly cut off, but you don't really need much of it, but we're just going to need one button from here, and you're going to be able to find it whether you can see my screen or not. So the next thing we're going to do in the chart settings is change the data style. For me, I don't use these colors here. I just use a green for my candles, and I use this orange right here for my down candles. And then the next thing we're going to do is, if you come to the bottom left, you're going to see something that says cluster. So cluster pretty much stands for the cluster chart, which is also the same thing as a footprint chart. And what we're going to do is enable, right? It's going to be disabled for you guys. We're going to enable it. And we're also just going to uncheck this delta option on the footprint number 2 chart. We're only going to have one footprint, right? So what Quantower did is they added the ability to have 2 footprints, which is actually a really cool thing because a lot of the other platforms have what Quantower has now. Like, they've already had it, and there's things that I've been searching for. But yeah, so we're just going to uncheck that, come into the settings, right? And the first thing we're going to do is enable the cluster settings here. It should be disabled, just enable that. Next thing we're going to do is uncheck the convert cluster to candles on zoom, because pretty much what that means is if we're like completely zoomed in, it's going to be the cluster chart, and then when we zoom out, it's going to show us just the candles. Now you can do that if you want. You can keep that if you want. This is my footprint chart settings. This is how I like to do it, but maybe after I explain all this, You guys can go ahead and make it how you guys like as well, right? Or you guys might follow someone else that has footprint charts a different way. They might not use Quantower, but you might be able to copy them now. So yeah, uncheck the convert cluster to candles on zoom. And then the next thing we're going to change is the bar visualization. You're going to check candle for that. And then the bar width, we're going to change this to 35%. Pretty much what the bar width is that when you see the footprint chart on the left side of it, you're going to see a candle and you're determining how wide that candle is. And for me, it was originally at 20, but 20 was too small for me, so I made it a little bigger. You guys will see after. We're not going to hide the bar when compressing the chart, okay? And then the candle zone is going to be none. So this candle zone, it was pretty much like if you zoom into the charts, it would show this a normal sized candle, right? But it would be kind of like outlining the entire footprint in the shape of what the candle was, and I just didn't really like that. It was too distracting, so I want to take that out. And then the imbalance zone. So we're going to get into that last because I just want to make the cluster chart first. So next thing we're going to do is just click on cluster, and then we're going to change the 3 settings for footprint 1, like the left content, right content, and general content. So the left content, what comes on the left side of the footprint chart, right? That is usually the sell / bid volume. And what we're going to do is we're going to raise the value font. We're going to bring it to 10 because I thought that 7 was just a little bit too low. We're going to get rid of the POC because we don't really like seeing the POC. And then we're also going to click none on the out of value area coloring mode. Originally it's on shadow. I keep it on none because once we see that volume profile come in, which I'll show you guys once this is complete, we want everything to have a color, a specific color. Okay. So next on the right side is going to be the by volume, color by data type. You don't need to switch that. And then again, we're going to get rid of the POC. And for the value area, we're going to come to none. Lastly, the footprint 1 general, right? So the visualization is going to be a histogram. And data type is by volume. And when you go down to the coloring mode, we're going to color by delta. Now we want this because on our footprint charts, we're going to get a histogram. We're going to get a volume profile every footprint chart. And we want to be able to distinguish which has more buyers and which has more sellers at every key level. So the delta colors, if you guys want my specific colors, blue is going to be 2694EE. 2694EE. And for the sell side, like burgundy color is going to be 923A65. Coming down, we uncheck the POC again, value area, none. Okay. And now, if you see this chart, if you just zoom in regularly, you're not going to be able to see this footprint chart. And this is a question I've gotten a lot. I think I figured it out. So what you have to do is come into the settings, go into this right here, mouse wheel plus control action. So for me, I have a scroll on my mouse. This is a Logitech MX Master 3. This is not an ad, but I use this mouse because I really like it for trading. And it has this side scroll. It pretty much lets me scroll sideways in and out of the chart instead of up and down. Now I can do up and down with this normal scroll as well, but a lot of people that don't have this scroll have been struggling to zoom in onto the charts without extending the candles, right? And if you don't, it's okay because this is the setting that controls it. Mouse wheel plus control action, zoom to cursor. You got to switch that to zoom to cursor, okay? If it's not on it already. And what you're going to do is, for you, you're just going to press Control, and then you're going to scroll with the mouse wheel, and it's going to scroll sideways, as you can see, like that. Right, now you got to kind of play around with it. You can't just keep scrolling sideways, right? But you got to scroll sideways a little bit, and then scroll into it a little bit, and then scroll sideways a little bit, and then scroll into it a little bit. And pretty much what you get is this, right? Now we get the footprint charts. You guys aren't just getting this whole thing that you guys were talking about before. And I think this is what the comments have been talking about on my previous video. So if this helps you guys, please leave me a like. I was very confused when people were talking about this. I was like, oh my gosh, I remember I struggled with this before too. It's just been so long that I forgot. And the last thing that we want to do in the cluster settings, so I want to go back, click cluster on the bottom left, go into the settings, footprint general one more time. Just change the visualization fill type to solid. As you can see, now you can see all the colors bright and clear. You can see the candle. That's what I was talking about before in the cluster settings. This is the bar width of the candle, right? If we decrease it, this candle starts to shrink. If we increase it, this candle starts to get a lot bigger. So this is up to you. If however you want to see the candle. I leave it at 35. That's very comfortable to my eyes, right? And just the last part in my specific footprint chart is that I include imbalance zones. So when you click on cluster, right? And then if you scroll down from here, it's going to say imbalance zones. Check that box, and we're only going to have one level. So you guys can have multiple imbalance zones. If you guys know what an imbalance zone is, then this part shouldn't be too confusing. If you don't know what it is, I will describe it very shortly, but just give me a second to get through all the settings for the people who want to see the settings first. So my imbalance ratio is going to be a 5. My stacked imbalance color, it doesn't matter because this is talking about the almost the supply and demand zones that show on the chart. I don't look at those zones. I only use the numbers that get colored, that get highlighted. So the text color, if you guys want to use the same one as me, here it's going to be, for the green, it's going to be 37db3c. And for the south side, it's going to be FF319F. And then after that, we're just going to apply the changes. Also click calculate font size automatically. You don't have to. I've just been testing this out. And we apply changes here. And now if you look at the chart, you're going to start seeing some green and some red on the footprint charts, right? Red for sell side, green for buy side. And pretty much what this means is that every time there is an imbalance from the buyers and the sellers, right? If there are more sellers or more buyers by a certain amount. So for me, I chose a ratio of 5, right? So 5 is a multiplier. 5 times greater than it will be highlighted. So to find a good example for you guys is right over here, right? So the way that these imbalances are measured is that it is in a diagonal fashion. So when you look at a footprint chart, buy and sell side is compared diagonally. So when the buyers are 5 times greater than the sellers, right? 16 is 5 times less than 82. That is when this green bubble lights up a little bit. There is an imbalance of buyers that are a lot greater than sellers. And same things goes here, right? 16 is 5 times greater than 1, right? 13 is 5 times greater than 0. More than 5 times, right? Anything more than 0 is much times greater than 0, right? So that's why 4 is highlighted. That's why 1 is highlighted over here compared to 0. And the way that I pretty much use these imbalances is that I look for a stacked imbalance. So let me just delete everything here and show you guys how this really works. So if you come back into the cluster settings, and this is just a little visualization I'm going to give for you guys. If you click show stacked imbalances here, it's going to highlight the stacked imbalances. And the way I pretty much use this is that I use this as like a level of supply or demand. Seeing imbalances in the market shows that there is an unequal ratio of buyers and sellers, and that's where I like to capitalize. So like, let's say on a breakout, right? On a breakout here, we see an imbalance of buyers form, right? And you can see this, a bunch of green on this side forming. So when price comes back to retest this level, I pretty much use it as a level of demand. Because what is a level of demand? It's an imbalance of buyers in a specific area. What is a level of supply? It's an imbalance of sellers in a specific area. So same thing applies here. Like if we're coming down and we see this imbalance of sellers and we break below, then when we come to retest it, I'm looking for that level to hold, right? And that's kind of how I use the imbalances. It just shows me, more than anything, it just shows me that there is strength or weakness that is going with whatever flow of the market that is happening at the moment. So if you want to keep the stacked imbalance zones, you guys can keep that. If you want to get rid of them like me, you can get rid of them. And this is pretty much what the footprint chart is going to look like, right? The only things that I don't like about this new update is that it's a little bit harder to see the numbers. But other than that, I actually really like it. So that's going to be it for the video. I hope that this video was helpful. And if it was, please leave me a like, comment, or even subscribe. And if you guys have any other questions that were not answered in this video, just leave a comment and I'll get to it very, very soon. And as always, thank you for watching, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.